For untold centuries, the turbid waters of the Colorado River battered their way through the forbidding canyons of its 1,700-mile course, traversing the arid Southwest. Draining a vast region of mountain and desert, entering 7 of the largest western states, it poured its waters southward into the Gulf of California, carrying into its delta a tremendous volume of silt, and periodically overflowing the prosperous towns and rich agricultural districts near its mouth with devastating floods. From the time of its discovery, it remained a challenge to engineers who sought to control it, until the enactment in 1928 of the Boulder Canyon Project Act, authorizing the construction of Boulder Dam. All these and much more were concentrated at the site of operations in an endless stream. The engineering forces completed their surveys, working under the most hazardous conditions, and every union furnished its quota of laborers and artisans. Lining street after street, the white cottages of the married workmen recalled to mind the military camps of 1918, while single men were housed in air-cooled dormitories, each accommodating 176 occupants. Under conditions which would have gained the wholehearted approval of any modern housewife, tons of food were prepared and served daily in the sanitary, electrically equipped kitchens. A corps of cooks and waiters was able to feed as many as 1,300 men at one setting of the tables. As Boulder City was about 7 miles distant from the dam site, it was necessary to provide transportation for the workmen to and from the job. This was accomplished by a fleet of passenger motor trucks, some of them carrying as many as 160 men. A 24-hour day was divided into 3 shifts of 8 hours each for all classes of labor. The 4th of July, Labor Day, and Christmas were the only holidays observed. Once the rapid tempo of the ambitious construction schedule was established and underway toward the marking of a record-breaking achievement in American engineering history. It was in March 1931 that 6 companies incorporated of San Francisco, California, was awarded the general contract for the construction of the project, including Boulder Dam and its appurtenant works. During this early period of construction, before roads had been built into the depths of the gorge, men and materials were forced to take to boats or travel the catwalks. During this early period of construction, before roads had been built into the depths of the gorge, men and materials were forced to take to boats or travel the catwalks, often swung between the sheer walls of the canyon at dizzy heights above the muddy waters of the world's most dangerous river. It was not long before roads and rail lines had penetrated into the very lowest reaches of the canyon. To provide these arteries of transportation, thousands of tons of virgin rock were blasted from the age-old walls of the gorge. The work of drilling and handling explosives for these huge blasts traveled in cages or skips swung on cables at heights of hundreds of feet over the river. To the casual observer, this dizzy sky ride must have seemed thrilling indeed. But to the workmen themselves, it became a matter of course, and all a part of the day's job. The first step in preparing for the blast was the drilling of powder holes into the rock of the canyon wall. For this purpose, the jackhammer drill, operated by a single man, was generally used. The holes were then loaded with dynamite, and the blast set off, shattering the air with its detonation and shaking the very earth with its force. Tall Blacken had been carved out of the primal rock by the rush of water from a great inland sea, and the Colorado River was settling into its present bed. Become the highest dam in the world, began to rise from the impregnable rock of its foundation. As bucket after bucket of concrete was dumped into the forms, the plan of the structure became apparent, and soon extended along its full 660 feet dimension of thickness at the base. Throughout the lower levels of the structure, concrete was placed from a trestle anchored to the Nevada wall of the canyon. Samples of typically welded joints were subjected to severely rigid laboratory tests, calculated to produce a condition of strain far in excess of that to be borne by the joint under actual usage. The job of transporting the pipe sections from the plant to the dam site was in itself a tremendous undertaking. And to accomplish this work, a special road trailer capable of carrying 200 tons was designed and built. Day by day, week after week, the top workings of the structure approached its full height of 730 feet, far above the crest of any other dam yet built by man, or likely to be built for years to come. Schedules established at the outset of the work were left far behind. In June 1935, the dam structure itself stood completed, 2.5 years in advance of the time originally designated. In September of the same year, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, voicing high praise for both designers and builders, dedicated Boulder Dam to the progress of the nation. As final construction work was completed, the impressive beauty of the structure became apparent. The roadway, traversing its 1,300-foot crest, forms a magnificent link in a transcontinental highway.
Evet dostlar, neredeyiz? Toprak.
Hoover Dam.
Hoover Dam'dayız. Yani barajdayız. Hoover barajındayız. Las Vegas'a 45-50 dakika yolumuz var. Fakat yol üzerindeki bu büyük barajı, önemli barajı görmeden geçmek istemedik. Şimdi arabamızı park ettik. Ana yoldan buraya bir 10 dakikalık virajlı dağ yolundan iniyorsunuz. $10 otopark parası verdik. Şimdi bu çılgın mekana bakacağız.
Su akması değil mi?
Evet. Buradan fazla taşan suyu
gibi görünmüyor.
aynen öyle. Şöyle bakalım. Hayatımda hiçbir baraj görmemiştim böyle. Arabayla üzerinden geçtik önce. İki tarafta da otopark yapmışlar. Girişte güvenlik arabayı durdurdu. Arama yaptılar. Sordular, soruşturdular. Herhalde barajı havaya uçuracak ekipman var mı yok mu gibisinden. Mekan bu. Mekan oldukça büyük. Yürü yürü hala yürüyoruz. Ne kadar demiştin dip? 400 feet mi?
Evet. Öyle okumuştum.
Hadi bakalım.
İşte doğru.
Buradan böyle atlasak parçamızı bulurlar mı Toprak? Ne diyorsun? Parçamızı bence de bulamazlar. Orada barajı özel yapan diğer bir durum da bir tarafı Arizona eyaleti, diğer tarafı Nevada eyaleti. Hatta burada da Arizona time ve Nevada zamanı ve Arizona zamanı diye saatler yapmışlar. Arabayla geçerken Google bize dedi ki Welcome to Arizona. Aslında yukarıdan Nevada'ya geçmiştik. Fakat şimdi Arizona'da Nevada arasındayız, çizgideyiz. Karşıya geçiyoruz ve manzarayı size gösteriyorum. Wow! Wow! Evet, az önce şu köprüden geçtik böyle. Sonra da döndük aşağıya, dağ yolundan. Biraz rüzgarlı olabilir ama kusuruma bakmazsanız. Bir de böyle köprünün iç kısmında, barajın iç kısmında böyle bir günlük gölgelik yapmışlar yürürken. Oldukça sıcak. Hava şu an 95-96 Fahrenheit. Hemen şurada yaya geçidi var. Yaya geçidinden karşıya geçiyorum. Tam ortadayım arkadaşlar. Arizona ile Nevada'nın tam ortasındayım, sınırdayım. Vay arkadaş. Yok böyle bir ortam ya. Evet, biraz daha ilerlersem görebilirsiniz. Şurada Nevada time yazıyor. Burada da Arizona time. Evet, biz şimdi arabaya geçelim. Ondan sonra da Las Vegas'a doğru devam edelim.